Okay, so before anyone says anything, no, I am not actually a babysitter. You gotta understand, back when I was in high school, my parents wanted me to like get some form of job or certificate for something to be proud of. Because my sister, like that was older than me, always had like participation awards. So let's just say I ended up getting my babysitter's license as like my own self-reward. And let's just say it ended up getting me into some very interesting situations. All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was in high school. I was 16 years old, and I remember I was just basically like a basic junior in high school. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of things my parents wanted me to do growing up, and that was, you know, become successful, gain awards, you know, the typical parent stuff. So I remember what I decided to do was, you know, go for my babysitter's license. Because there was always a girl in my class who was like always saying how like she makes so much money off babysitting and how it's so easy to get the license and stuff. So I remember I ended up taking a babysitter's course. When I told my parents about it, they were actually pretty surprised about it, but at the same time, they said that it would actually help out my future if I ever have a kid. And I already know if I ever have a kid, I'm naming it Yoda. But that's not the point. Going on though, I remember I ended up going to a church to basically get my babysitter's license. I have no idea why it's in a church. For the guy that says the word Devil's Tango me going into a church is pretty rare. Well, not really. I'm actually Christian, but that's not the point. I remember I ended up going to a church, and it was a really nice church. Amen for that. And basically, I ended up getting my babysitter's license. I remember I took like 3 different classes, and it was really fun and actually pretty enjoyable. And when it came to the final test, I remember I ended up walking out of there acing it like it was no problem. It was actually pretty easy. But then I realized, I remember when I was coming out of the babysitter's teaching place, aka the church, I ended up running into a guy in a suit. Now, I don't know why, he was just kind of standing outside the church, not entering in, so I thought maybe it was like some sinner that was scared to go in to confess his sins or whatever. But I remember he ended up walking up to me saying, "Hey, yo, excuse me, are you a babysitter?" Yeah, because I was holding my certificate at the time, so I was able to say, yeah, I'm a babysitter. And then he ended up telling me, "Okay, well, I'll pay you $1 grand an hour to take care of my daughter." Oh, like, yeah, sure, I could do that, is what I told him afterwards. And apparently, like, this guy, like, when I started heading for the parking lot to get his card to call him later to get, like, basically the address of everything, he ended up having a really nice McLaren that he was driving. At this point, I was like, dude, what kind of dad has like a McLaren like this? Like, holy, this guy lives good, dude. So I remember I complimented him on his car, and I ended up getting his card for basically the babysitting job. And one thing led to another, he ended up leaving in his car. I remember a chick that was in my babysitter's class walked up to me saying, "Oh, like he's still looking for a babysitter? That's so odd." And it ended up walking away. I was confused when she said that, and actually ended up running up to her saying, "Wait, what do you mean by that?" She ended up telling me that she had a daughter that was, well, a real brat, and that no one really wanted to babysit her. At that point, I was like, whatever. I'm a guy. Maybe I can handle things better. I don't know. Really sexist thought, but you know, it is what it is. Going on, I remember basically, I ended up going back home and getting on the phone, and I ended up calling him and asked him when should I start? Because I do want to start babysitting to make money. Because $1 grand an hour for a high school student, that's like gold mine, dude. So I remember I ended up going for the phone and calling him, and when I did call him, he ended up telling me, "Oh yeah, so I live up in this address. If you want to come up anytime soon, go for it. Actually, I have a meeting tonight, so if you can take care of her tonight, that'll be awesome." Like, literally tonight is what I told him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, let's just tonight, like just pop up, babysitter, do what you gotta do, and then afterwards just dip." Oh, okay, is what I said. So I remember I ended up getting my car and driving all the way over to his place. When I got there, I remember he had such a big house, and was one of those like super modern homes that looked like a Minecraft square box. Like, it was super luxury. So I remember as I walked in, he was like looking at me saying, "Okay, so basically here's the kitchen. There's 2 living rooms. One of them's like a special living room for my guests, and the other one's just a friendly family living room, so you can go look at there. Upstairs is the bathroom. The daughter's room is upstairs to the left near the bathroom, and yeah, you should be set." When he told me that, I'm like, "Yeah, no problem, sir." And he ended up paying me $1 grand up front. I don't know why he paid it up front. Usually you pay the babysitter after, but he paid it up front like I needed it or something. I ended up saying thank you, and he ended up leaving in his car and driving away. At that point, I remember I was basically stuck there. I ended up sitting down, and I basically waited, and 2 minutes later, a girl ends up coming downstairs. Now, you guys are probably gonna think I'm insane, okay? Because the title of this video does seem really out of pocket, but I will say this much. The girl coming downstairs ended up saying, "Who are you?" And no joke, this girl, when I turned my head around, I was like, okay, there's gotta be another daughter. There's no way I'm babysitting this one. Because this girl was literally my age. She was 16 and went to a different school where all like the preppy kids go. Well, aka a private school, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I absolutely was mind boggled when I looked at her saying, "Oh, like, I'm the babysitter, I think, for your sister." She looks at me and says, "I don't have a sister. Are you like the new babysitter that's supposed to take care of me?" Yeah, is what I said afterwards. She ended up looking at me thinking, "Oh, okay, well, I mean, like, you're kind of cute. I guess I'll be nice to you." Wait, what? And then afterwards, I realized she ended up going for the door as if she was about to leave, and I told her, whoa, 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 where do you think you're going? I ended up closing the door on her and saying, "You can't just leave." She looked at me saying, "Excuse me, but you're not my dad, you're my babysitter. And honestly, like, how old are you? Like, the same age as me? Like, leave me alone." So she ended up trying to open the door, and I ended up slamming it again and saying, "Listen, you're not leaving. Your dad paid me. I don't want to do something wrong. You're under my supervision." When I said that, she looked at me, like, kind of like with a smirk and a smile. She's like, "Oh, chill. So like, you're like really like hardcore babysitting, huh? I guess is what I said afterwards, kind of like stuttering and confused of what the hell's going on. Then afterwards, I remember she kept looking at me saying, okay, well, like, I mean, whatever. And she ended up going back upstairs to her room. When she went upstairs to her room, I remember I really had to go to the bathroom like after like 10 minutes later. So I ended up going upstairs to the bathroom that was near her room. And when I was in there taking a fat one, I remember I heard like through the wall, because you know the walls are really thin in that house, basically that she was talking to some girl saying, oh my gosh, like my babysitter's actually like pretty hot, but like I can't come to the party tonight. Like just tell like Devin that I won't be there. But like I'm not gonna lie, this babysitter might really kick it for me. Wait, what is what I thought? And I remember right at the moment I ended up plopping a giant fat, okay, you know what, that's not the point, but going on, I remember when I came out of the bathroom, she ended up coming out of her room and she looked at me kind of embarrassed, as if I already knew what she just said to her friend. But I tried to play it cool and say, oh hey, and I ended up just going straight downstairs. When I went downstairs, she ended up following behind me and saying, oh, like, so do you like want to watch a movie? Not really, is what I said. And I ended up sitting on the couch, laying back, and basically was on my phone. She looked at me again and said, okay, well, like, do you play any sports? Like, what school do you go to? I told her the school I go to, and she was in shock. She was like, oh, like, weren't you the guy on the rugby team? I am in the rugby team, yeah, is what I told her afterwards, because apparently she recognized me from rugby. Apparently our school versus hers, and I didn't even recognize her or something. But apparently she was a cheerleader for the school, and one thing led to another. We ended up talking more and more, and I ended up asking her the main question that really freaked me out for this whole thing. Why does your dad want me babysit you? She ended up looking at me saying, oh, well, like, my dad, like, always knows, like, sneak out and stuff, so he always, like, try to hire, like, these, like, babysitters that, like, think they can control me, but, like, they just can't. They're, like, dumb. Okay. Why don't you just stay home then? Just relax. Like, don't you love being at home? Listen, when you have all the money in the world and your daddy gives it to you, the only fun thing to do is go out and spend it. And if I can't go out, what's the point of me staying at home? Okay, fair enough, is what I ended up saying. And afterwards, she ended up giving me a tour of the house and stuff and the crazy pool that was in the backyard. And one thing led to another. We ended up going to her bedroom because apparently she had like one of these like cool TVs that came out of like this box, like machinerized. I don't know. It was super really cool. And I remember we ended up sitting on the bed watching a movie, and yeah, we kind of started cuddling, and one thing led to another. We ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I don't know. Let's just say like for babysitting, I was definitely sitting on something. Anyways, though, going on with the story, basically, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. And I ended up hearing a really loud engine coming from outside of her balcony. And at that point, I knew, oh snap, her dad's home. So I ended up getting dressed and already ran downstairs and basically ended up sitting on the couch just waiting. And when he ended up walking through the door, he ended up coming in saying, hey, I just saw my daughter's light shut off. Is she going to bed? I looked at him all nervousness, like just shaking. My hair was a mess from doing the Devil's Tango. And I didn't know what to say. So I looked at him and said, she just went to bed. I'm almost done here. It was good working with you. And as I'm heading for the door, I remember he's like, wait. Let's go check on her. I'm like, okay. And as we were coming up the stairs, I remember he ended up telling me, yeah, she likes to sneak out a lot. I didn't tell you. I apologize. If she snuck out right now, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, really? Is what I said. And then right as we go through the door, the lights were shut off, and instantly he quickly like took a glance with his flashlight, and he saw his daughter was dead asleep on the bed with a blanket over her, kind of just instantly just being really tired. I remember I looked and I was like, what? Like she's actually asleep? In my mind, I was thinking that, but then I remember her dad ended up looking at me saying, for the first time, I'm not gonna lie, you actually did a good job babysitting. He ended up basically giving me another like extra $500 for being a good babysitter for the first time, and I ended up leaving. At that point, as I was leaving, I remember I ended up like basically got in my car and I saw her in the balcony waving goodbye to me. All I'm gonna say is that this was a mission success, but I'm not gonna lie, there is another story where basically I did get caught, and with a guy with a lot of money, you don't want to mess up with those guys. Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's video. Make sure you guys do follow me on kick.com in the link down below, and like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys.